Good day to you, viewers across the world. This is a special edition of the Athletics Africa review of the just concluded National Sports Festival in Edo. Of course, the past days has been a beehive of activities in Benin City, Edo State, where the 20th edition of the National Sports Festival was held. Of course, athletics took the center stage, and of course, other events were also run in the course of the 20th Sports Festival. Today, we're going to be taking a look at what transpired in Edo, looking at it, comparing it to the Abuja 2018 edition, and looking ahead if there's prospect for Nigerian sports, going by the performances that we had in the course of the 20th edition of the National Sports Festival. Of course, I'm not going to be here alone this evening. I have with me, just back from Edo State, Mudashiru Shito, is the owner of White Flower Media. Mudashiru Shito, nice to have you on this special edition of the Athletics Africa review of the National Sports Festival.
Thank you very much, Tunde, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners across the globe will be wonderful to hear about the review of Edo 22.
Oh, okay. Of course, you were there right from the opening ceremony, from the lighting of the torch to the opening ceremony and to the closing ceremony. If you look in retrospect, what would you call your best moment at the last, as just concluded festival in Edo State? Looking at everything that transpired, what would you regard as your best moment overall?
Yeah, my best moment overall has to do with when its opening ceremony, when it actually started the National Sports Festival, because it suffered almost 4 postponements, and a lot of athletes were cycling. Some were giving up hope of whether it's going to take place this year. So the best moment was the kickoff, at last. The National Sports Festival is real, because from the athlete's perspective, most of the moments, most of them said it should not take place. Some called, some asked questions, and even when it seems that it will take place, the last minute we heard that it will take place in Abuja, and you can imagine how that postponement have affected them from 2020 to 2021. And that's even from the perspective of the other stakeholders, journalists, media partners, know that is where your mind is. That is where you're
Oh, okay. Muda, are you still there with me? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. So, Muda, you were talking about the fact that kicking off the event was actually a big win for all the athletes, going by the fact that we witnessed a lot of postponements within 4 or 5. Of course, no thanks to the coronavirus pandemic. We've seen many events being postponed, and some even outrightly cancelled. But in the case of the National Sports Festival, the athletes waited this long. If you look at for how long the athletes had to, okay, we have joining us also fresh from the National Sports Festival in Edo State, and we have Charles Dia. Charles Dia, welcome to the show, and I'm sure you have a lot to say about what transpired in Edo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear. It was a wonderful thing
Yeah,
to
sure.
be part of the National Sports Festival, the 20th edition of the National Sports Festival. Luckily for me, I was there from start to the end of. Okay, don't let me say till the end because the marathon took place a day after the closing ceremony of the festival. So I was not part of the marathon, but it was a big one. It was a massive one being part of the National Sports Festival, especially after the last one, 2018 in Abuja, and what happened, especially the COVID-19. The festival was postponed from March, so I think December, February, and all sorts of things happened. And at the time during the festival itself, there was rumor that they are going to end the festival during the period when the state government said they were unable to receive the fund, the bailout fund promised by the federal government that they are going to pull out and they are going to end everything. At the time, they actually closed the main organizing committee office. They locked them out of the office, but everything was resolved and were able to have a good festival. It was a fantastic one, especially since somebody like Grace Wokocha qualifying for the
No, no.
Olympics.
Hello. Charles, we'll get to the details. I know you have a lot to tell us from what transpired in Edo. I'm looking at you. You are cladded in Team Delta apparel. Is it because they won? That is why you are wearing their apparel, or you just love Team Delta naturally?
Two things. Team Delta won back to back, 3 editions of the festival, back to back to back. So they've already given them the trophy for keep. The last trophy has been given them for keep. And then next year, the 21st edition of the festival is going to Delta. So what better way to celebrate with the champion? They are the champion. They've won. They are going to hold the next one. So they are the champion. So let's celebrate with the champion.
Okay. From when we started, I asked Muda a question, and the question is: if you look at what transpired in Edo, what was your best moment at the championship?
Well, I would say my best moment at the championship. I think there is a background noise from that end. I'm finding it difficult to really hear myself. But I would say my best moment at the championship was when some of these so-called elite athletes that you are expecting to win medals are dropping by the wayside. Everybody have given the title to Mike Edwards to win the high jump, but he finished with the bronze medal. Everybody have given it to Peter Moreno to win the pole votes, but at the end of the day, it was a known athlete that won it. So there are so many. Then seeing a 10-year-old Stephanie winning a gold medal and I think 2 silver medals in the gymnastics. See so many things happening as in behind the scene. When you're looking up to some people that this man should be the one. Oh, this title has been given to this one. This title should go to this person, and all this did not happen. And you're seeing emerging talents coming up. It's a fantastic one for me. And seeing somebody like Alaba Akintola coming up with the 200-meter gold medal. Then Timedo winning gold and silver in 100-meter. A very good one for me. As in, I was overjoyed. I was happy seeing such people because that's the essence of the championship. You want
Yeah.
emerging talent.
So in essence, what you're saying is that Edo 2020 was filled with surprises, and for you, that is good for competition.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Like I said, you have so much to share when it comes to your experience in Edo 2020. So Muda, let me get back to you now. Looking at the festival, let's start from the facilities that were in place. One of the greatest undoing of Nigerian sports is the death of facilities. From what you saw in Edo, from your transversing the various centers that hosted the different sports, would you say that talking about facilities, Edo got it right, or we are still far off the mark? Muda, did you get my question? Hello, Muda.
Hello, Muda, are you there?
Okay, just maybe you can take the question. Yeah, I'm talking about facilities now. Do you think Edo gave us the best of facilities?
I think Muda is available now.
Oh, okay, Buddha is available. I was asking about the facilities in Edo. Looking at Nigerian sports, there's always been complaints. There's always been complaints about facilities. From what you saw in Edo, would you say that the facilities were top notch, or they were not what you expected?
Let me say this from my own observation, that the facilities in at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium itself, that's the main center, they're all fantastic, from the squash to the lawn tennis to the Kung Fu center to the media center. Everything seems to be perfect, like a very good standard. But outside the stadium, where we have, for example, table tennis, I think that place is below expectation. It's not a conducive environment for the players and the athletes. And there's an incident of one of the athletes from Kwara State really coming outside, and there was a bit of she trying to get back to her feet after so much of heat and all that. So at the table tennis section is not so fantastic, but also at the cultural center where boxing took place, I say that is just a no for me, because it doesn't give that impression that there's a festival going on or a national sport festival going on in that place. Everything outside the stadium is below expectation. Any sport that took place outside the stadium is below expectation. But those one inside the stadium, because it's just been renovated, so that is why we could write home about.
From what you said, I think our major focus is going to be on athletics. And from what you said, the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium was top notch, meaning that the tracks were fantastic. And maybe that explains for the fantastic times that we saw our athletes returning. Of course, we had a couple of festival records being broken. We had qualification for the Olympic Games. And we had new personal best being set. So I think that speaks well for the facilities. Now let's go to the events. Of course, the top events. When you look at the charts, when you look at the 100 meters, for example, where Enoch Adegoke emerged as the fastest runner, would you say that was surprising for you, or that was what you expected in the first place, Charles?
Well, when you're looking at Enoch Adegoke has shown that he's one of the emerging talents in Nigeria in recent years. Let me say in the last 2 years, he has shown the kind of talent. This is an athlete that is a junior. He just moved to be a senior, and he has been shown talent all this while. So I was looking forward to him winning it, because the only person that can compete with him on that lane happened to be Shekiri Tishe, who already qualified for the Olympics after achieving a personal best of 10.02 last year. Was the only one that I think has what it takes to compete with him in that lane. And then when you talk about Alaba Akintola, who happened to be his running mate and teammate. So I'm not surprised that Enoch won the 100 meter. I was not surprised at all. I was actually looking forward to him even doing better, especially getting the Olympic qualification, which he is here to secure so far. But I think with what he has done, he has what it takes to be part of the relay team. So no surprise in that part of the relay of the race.
Well, you just talked about the relays, and the world relays is coming up in some weeks' time. It doesn't look like Nigeria will feature there. When you look at the performances that we had in Edo, don't you think Nigeria should be able to assemble a team that will have been able to do well at the world relays? Charles again.
Seriously, I was disappointed that we will not be part of the world relay. And I was at a meeting with the Gusole board, and they were like, it's because they didn't allow them to do the trials. That's why Nigeria will not be part of the world relay. But let's leave that aside. I think we have what it takes to do well in relay, because we have about 3 athletes that have run sub 10 in the last 1 year. We have some that have done 10-1, 10-2, which is a good one. By the time you see all of them together, they have what it takes to really work together and achieve something in relay. You can't have a country with athletes, three athletes running sub 10 and not be able to perform well in the relay. It's not it's unheard of. But it's so unfortunate that we're not going to be part of the relay. But I hope we are going to qualify. This will have been an opportunity for Nigeria to qualify for the Olympics. Maybe the World Day will have given us the opportunity to qualify for the Olympics. But we are unable to do that, we're unable to achieve that. So let's see going forward if we can qualify for the 4x100 meter. We should have done that in Morocco, Rabat, Morocco. But Ghana beat us to it by winning that in Rabat, Morocco during the African Games. So hopefully we can still qualify for the games, for the Olympic Games. But I see us having a good relay team like we used to have in the past.
Oh, okay. Muda, you talked. Muda, are you there with us? Hello, Muda. Hello, Muda.
Hello, Muda.
Are you there? Okay, so the next focus is on the women's race. Muda, okay, you're back with us. Okay, so Muda, can you hear me? Charles, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, Muda, can you hear me?
I think Muda is having a big issue with his network over there.
That's unfortunate. Okay, let's go to the women's race where we saw Nwokocha winning both the 100 and the 200 meters. Yeah, I don't want to ask if it's a surprise or it's not a surprise. Looking at the time, particularly the qualifying time for the Olympics, how do you? I'm sure you were at the stadium that day. What was the atmosphere like, and her qualification was it something she preempted or it came as a surprise for her?
Let me just start from when she came out for her heats. The time she came out for her heats, she came out in Team FCT color.
Why?
That was how she came out for the heats. And suddenly they call all of them in. In fact, I was surprised with her particular heat. She was supposed to run in heat 4, where we have the likes of Nwokocha, we have the likes of Eze Brumen, we have the likes of Agnes Osasua, we have Blessing Ogudino. As in, out of the 7 athletes running that heat, we have about 5 of them that have opportunity of winning the medal at the end of the day. So it was a big surprise that having such that which heat what kind of lineup are we having here in this heat, and suddenly they call all of them in and they change everything. So we have heat 4 and heat 5, and suddenly we realize that Nwokocha is coming out in Delta color. So it was a case of maybe partly part of FCT, and then the state that registered was actually Delta State. So everything was settled, and she came out to run. But from the start to the end of the race, I was looking forward to her winning. She qualified for the Olympics in 100 meters just like 2 weeks ago in Lagos, March 30th or 31st, if I could recollect. So everybody was looking forward to her to do something better, maybe to lower her time, maybe to do another PB in 100 meter. But there was nobody. The only person that should have given her a run for her money should be Eze Brumen in that race. But the same Eze Brumen was attending to high jump during the semi-final of the 100 meter. She was at high jump, ran down to the 100 meter, did the semi-final, qualified for the final, went back to the high jump, and had to come back for the final. So you realize that she's already spent. She can't do anything more. But I was looking forward to Nwokocha to get a better time in the 100 meter. But the best thing for her, at least the most important thing, is she won the race and she got the gold for Team Delta. Then in the 200, she was like house on the fire. She ran out of the block, and it was another personal best for her and qualification for the Olympics in 200 meters. So we only have two Nigerians that qualified for both 100 and 200 meters. I'm talking about Blessing Okagbare and Grace Nwokocha.
All right, Blessing Okagbare and Grace Nwokocha. Regardless of what people might say, I don't think she should be denied this opportunity, even if we know getting a medal is definitely out of place. But I think she has earned it for her to run these times. So I hope the AFM will put their house in order and make sure she's on the plane to Tokyo. Let's look at the overall athletics medal. Athletics table. We saw Team Edo. Before we go there. If you look, there was this new event that they did at the sports festival. That is the mixed relay. Of course, this was the first time that we're having it at the National Sports Festival. Of course, when we have men and women running together in a team for the relays. And Team Edo, right? Yeah, Team Edo were the winners of the inaugural race. Muda, do you think it was deserving for them, or you think Delta, with all the stars they have in their team, should have taken that gold medal? Can you unmute your mic? We can't hear you.
I can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, it should have gone in that. It should have gone in the direction of Delta, Edo, and Lagos. But unfortunately, Lagos came silver medalist in that particular event, where we had Joy Gabriel running the first leg in that particular event, and we also saw the fact that Grace Nwokocha, who won the 100 meters, were unable to do too much for Team Delta. And the reason is not far-fetched. The reason is because these teams have now come together, have mixed. They are now the best of each side coming together to really get it. But it has been Edo from the first leg to the last leg. And I think it's not so much of a surprise, even the very fact that it's Delta that got the bronze medal. It's not a surprise for me.
Well, Charles, are you on the same page, or you think otherwise?
Well, if you look at it has always been when you want to run a mixed relay, you have a male, female, male, female, or female, male, female, male. But Edo decided to do something out of the ordinary. They did female, female, male, male. So they decided to use the strength of their female in the first two legs, and then took advantage of the 100-meter winner, 200-meter winner, and the two guys that won gold and silver in 100 meter to finish the race. So Alaba Kisola was Enoch Adegoke, who won the 100 meter, took the third leg, and then Alaba Kisola, who won the gold in 200 and silver in 100 meter to finish the race. So it's difficult for these people to. It was a strategy that really worked for Edo, which was a good one for them. Then, if you look at one of the people that runs the relay for Team Delta, Chidimo Keme, Chidi Okeme is a 400-meter runner. So it's always difficult to have such a person running the sprints, as in straight sprints, 100 meter, and then be able to achieve something great. But at least at the end of the day, it was the three of them that won the gold. But Timedo really did very well. In fact, they achieved the festival record. Well, although let's say this is the inaugural one, so we'll continue to call it the festival record. But it was a good one for them. Having such athletes, and Ogundiro is an emerging talent. Blessing Ogundiro is an emerging talent, and she has shown herself to be a top-notch athlete for the future. So it's a good one for Team Meadow, the whole state, at least winning that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. If people have posted it insinuating that if Nigeria can actually get their if Nigeria can actually get their acts together,
Yeah.
the mixed relay is an event that is capable of getting us a medal. Do you really subscribe to this, or you think it's wishful thinking?
You can imagine a scenario where you have a Blessing Okagbare, Define Oduduru, Blessing Okagbare, Define Oduduru, Raymond Ekevo, and Grace Wokocha running the 4x100-meter mixed relay. Definitely, we have something in that regard. The only problem that we'll be having is synergy between the four of them. But we have a good synergy, we have a good preparation, good training between those, especially in the area of exchange of betting. Then we have what it takes. Even not the four alone, we have enough that can go into that team. Even Eze Crumez, Toby Amuson, all those people, they have what it takes to really give us. And if you remember the last time we won a medal at the world relay was in 4x200 meters when we have our athletes. What gave us that medal was exchange of betting. That was what gave us medal, and that was what made the team like Jamaica, USA to lose out of that medal. Then, if the only problem we'll be having,
I think I want to say something a bit different from what Charles has said. You know, well, yes, Charles just said the mix relay. It's a fusion of whatever relates it is. It's a fusion of the 100 meters. It's a fusion of the 200 meters. So if you are not getting the best on 100 meters, you understand? You don't expect you not getting a medal in the 100 meters. You don't get a medal in the 200 meters, both male and female. And there's not a mixed relay. And you expect you to get a medal in the mixed relay. It's going to be very, very impossible. That is why he analyzed that Edo was able to get the first in the mixed relay because the 100 meters and the 200 meters got a medal individually. So if gold medal individually, that is why they're able to get the gold medal in the mixed relay. The mixed relay is a fusion of 100 meters. So let me just hold on. Yeah. I think it's also let you know that it's not depend on the case we are. If you can say we can only get a medal in the mixed relay if it's the African Games, you understand? But when we go beyond the African Games, we'll probably not be able to get a medal at the Commonwealth Games or at the Olympics. Looking at what is happening right now. So it is not, I think it's a wishful thinking to say we are going to get a medal in the mixed relay because the fusion of the 100 meters, especially the only thing we can get a medal in the mixed relay is if there is a particular set of runners going for the mixed relay. But if you can't get a medal in the Olympics in 100 meters, 200 meters, you want to get a medal in the mixed relay. You can't get medals in the Commonwealth Games, 100 meters, 200, 400 meters. You want to get a medal in the mixed relay.
Let me put in this.
Okay. 1 minute, Charles. Okay, so for Muda, in as much as you might call it wishful thinking or being over patriotic, one thing you have to know is some of these super nations, the gap between the very best and the others is quite much. So if you have, for example, maybe a US winning the gold medal, because your projection is saying if US wins the gold medal, say maybe Jamaica win the silver medal, and maybe Bahamas the bronze. And Nigeria may not even get to the final. So how on earth do you think that they will win a medal? But if you look at what Charles said, the synergy is very important. You might have fast runner, but if the synergy is wrong, then there may be problems. Then looking at the fact that you have people that are relatively fast. Look at the times of everybody, and by the time you match it together, it comes to something. So truly for me, I think it's a place that we can look into and direct our energies to. If really we are serious about breaking the jinx of not winning any medals. But I don't want us to flog that issue because we'll soon be running out of time and we thought cover so much. You said the time runs fast when you're having fun. Let's go to the long distance races. Of course, the timing of the sports festival coincided with the Lagos Marathon, and some of the long distance race runners that would have loved to be in Edo, they had to choose between the two. Some had to leave the Lagos Marathon for the festival, while some had to leave the festival for the marathon. Do you think in any way that going forward, um, in terms of organization and planning, because nothing stops these athletes from taking part in the Lagos Marathon and also taking part in the festival if the planning was right. Going forward, what do you advise administrators when it comes to timings like
Yeah, I think if it's unfortunate because someone just made a comment that it's so serious for you to be having the one of the biggest marathon in Africa, and at the same time we are having the National Sports Festival. And what's really so annoying is that though the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon is a private entity, and I think it should still be controlled by the Athletic Federation of Nigeria and the Sport Ministry. That's to say that they should really check their time. But let's not forget that this was not the initial plan. Because if it's not the various postponement by COVID-19, this would have happened. Because we know that the initial date for the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon was in February. For the postponement, even after Access Bank postponed it the second time, it was not supposed to coincide with the National Sport Festival. So I think this is a merry coincidence. But nevertheless, it still tells us that there's still a lot of work that the AFN needs to do. It's expected, and I believe that the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon should be subject to the sport ministry and also the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. But this has shown that it is not so, which is the reason why, because I spoke with Olude Fadikemi and I was asking her that where is she going to come to Lagos before running the 20-kilometer race and the marathon? She said no, and she gave me her reasons for sticking with Edo State for that. And if you look at that, it really pays well for her because she won gold in the 20-kilometer race. I saw that on her Facebook page, and it only shows that there's not so much synergy and there's not so much power and control for the AFN over the marathons taking place in Nigeria. And I want to conclude that it is not supposed to be so.
All right, rounding up, of course, a short of time. Delta has been picked as the next host for the festival. The African Championships held 2018 in Asaba, is still fresh in our memories. What are you expecting in Asaba? I'm sure it's going to be Asaba. What are you expecting in Asaba, Huda? Quick one.
To be something we've not seen before, because this is the home of the champion. They've won this thing back to back since 2012, 2018, in this year 2020. So Okowa, while speaking with him after the closing ceremony, is trying to tell us that we should expect a master showpiece, as if the event will not take place in Nigeria. But I'm still expecting that world-class facilities, and the very fact that they are going to dominate as if others came just to party.
Charles, what about you? What are you expecting in Delta 2021?
Definitely the best of the best. The best of the best. When you remember when they hosted the African Championship, they actually showcased the championship live on TV from start to the end. And I'm looking forward to similar thing this time around in Asaba. They have the facilities. That's the truth. They've hosted the principal. Somebody asked me a question that where would they play the football match? That they only have one football pitch in Asaba, which is the stadium. I said they are not even going to bother to use that stadium. They are going to use some facilities outside the stadium. They have about 4 secondary schools that are world standard that can host football matches and so many other things. In Abuja, they actually, like they said, they strode to the medal. In Abuja, 3 days to the end of the championship, they already won the overall medal. This time around, I see them as in winning almost, if not all the events.
Okay, Charles Delta retaining their dominance in Nigerian sports.
Winning the new trophy called Eagle. They call it Giant Eagle. That's the new trophy that will be used from next championship.
All right, the Giant Eagle will be showcased in Asaba, and that is what all the 36 states will be fighting for. It's been a very rewarding time with Charles. I'm sure beyond, I don't want to talk about what happened outside of the stadium. Let us keep it what happened in the stadium. You guys have given us what you saw on the pitch, on the track. I'm sure there are many more things that went down in Edo that you would want to keep low for now. Viewers out there, we thank you for staying with us for this special edition. Of course, go to our YouTube page, AthleticsAfrica. You will see highlight of the races. All what I've been saying, you see the races there, the winners, the highs, the lows, and all the surprises that came with Edo 2020. Till come your way next time, have a wonderful day. Bless.